It's hard enough trying to get through the holiday season with the stress of buying gifts and family coming to town. But there's another Grinch that could be stealing your holiday happiness: diet culture. Thank you for staying with us. I'm Erin LeBeau.
Man, I'm Tamsin Fidel. So how many times have you said or heard somebody say, I didn't eat all day to save up for this meal? It's part of the diet culture. And for young girls, buying into the idea really can destroy self-esteem, put their health at risk, or even potentially be really deadly.
Yeah, so joining us now to talk about how diet culture impacts the holiday season is Dr. Ruth Gerson, the Senior Vice President for Mental Health Services at New York Foundling. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so doctor, can we jump right in and just tell us, what is diet culture?
Diet culture is all of the social messages that we get about how we should eat and how our bodies should look in order to be good or to be accepted. It's really hard for parents because these messages are everywhere. They're pervasive, and we might not realize when we ourselves have internalized it and we're passing it on to our kids. A lot of us, myself included, we struggle, right, with guilt and shame about our own eating, particularly around the holiday season when we're with family, where there's food everywhere, but our kids pick up on that.
Well, so let me ask you something. Do you think that the diet culture, as you call it, has contributed to a rise in eating disorders that we're seeing?
It's such a good question. I think that it's really interesting to see how the messages around food and what foods are good and how our bodies can be have changed over time. I see, and a lot of other folks have commented on this, that there's a real spread on a focus on clean eating on social media, which is really just diet culture in disguise. It's the same focus. It claims to be health and wellness, but really is just a preoccupation with what foods are good, what foods are bad, and it imbues eating choices with guilt and shame, which then can escalate into disordered eating.
So, doctor, why is it, or why would you say that diet culture is more common during the holiday season?
I think we come together with our families, and we don't necessarily realize as parents how kids are picking up on the things that we are saying and doing. So, for example, we're coming together in a big family gathering. We may have told our own kids to embrace body positivity, but if they hear us making critical comments about our own bodies or restricting how we're eating, or being moralizing or really choosy about what we eat or how we exercise, or how we, as you guys were saying before, sort of save up for a big meal, they take that in. They understand what that means, and they pick up the same preoccupations and the same guilt and shame.
Yeah, well, and it's not just social media. Where else are teens likely to see the harmful messaging about food? I know they can hear it, but there are other places that they're getting that message.
I think they hear it a lot from their peers, and we don't necessarily teach kids how to be good consumers of messages that they hear from others, be it, well-meaning grandparents who might not necessarily have the right, frame of mind that we want to pass on to our kids, aunts and uncles, peers, or social media. We really want to teach kids to be, critical consumers of the cultural messages that they hear and see.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about that. Do you think there's a bit of a mixed messaging out there? Because we hear so much about body positivity and love your body, but how is that possible when there's so much focus on eating good and food and things like that?
I think you're absolutely right. I think we need to teach kids not to focus on just what they look like, which to some degree that's what body positivity focuses on too. It's loving how your body looks, but really to help them think about, how does my body feel? How does this food make me feel? How does this message that I'm getting from a family member or from social media or from a friend make me feel? What is my body craving? What does my body need? What can my body do for me? So that they can move past thinking about their bodies just from the perspective of an outsider looking in, but really feel sort of attuned to their body and intuitive in the way that they are living in the world.
Let's talk about where parents fit into this. Are there some ways parents who are hearing this can help their kids who might fall victim to that diet culture?
It's a great question. I think what's challenging is that kids don't like it when we moralize at them, right? If we tell them what to do, they don't like that. So I think the key is really about modeling. So if we show kids how we ourselves are thinking about, I'm craving sweets right now, but I also want to make sure I eat enough protein so that my blood sugar doesn't drop later. I'm feeling, like I'm a little dehydrated right now. I need to make a different choice about what I'm eating, and maybe get something like a piece of fruit that's going to have some, some fluid in it too. If we model intuitive eating, if we model healthy choices around food, they're much more likely to pick that up than if we just tell them what to do, and then we ourselves are not doing or not practicing what we preach.
Okay, so doctor, let's say a teen or tween comes to their parents saying they are concerned about their weight. How should their parents react?
Well, first off, I think it's really important that parents come to kids not immediately with solutions, but with empathy and curiosity, right? If we jump to say, I need to do this, we need to do that, we lose them. We don't get the full understanding of what they're going through. But the most important piece is that family is really key for treating disordered eating and real clinical eating disorders. At the family, we try to involve family in everything that we do clinically, but it's particularly important for eating disorder treatment.
No question about that. Well, thanks so much for the conversation this afternoon. Appreciate you talking about it. I know it's a difficult topic, but certainly an important one this time of year.
Yeah, thank you guys for bringing attention to it.